a second for it to show up on the TED Show page, but just assume that we're live.
Alrighty.
All right. It looks like we are live, Ali. Nice to see you. How you doing, man? Welcome to the TED Show.
Well. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm very excited to have you on. We were supposed to meet. We had scheduled an actual meeting prior to all this quarantine insanity. And look, we are live. And so I said, you know what? You're a great guy, good on camera, no doubt in my mind. Why not do a show? Because everybody's looking for some kind of inspiration, motivation, anything that they can get. Why not do a show and we can talk about what you have going on? So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here. Appreciate the time. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time to live in.
It really is.
You kind of take a day at a time. I'm used to kind of this. I come from a different country. I was born in Mexico City, so I came here in 1995 with my mom and my sister.
I didn't know that's where you were born. Very cool.
Born in Mexico City. The name Ali comes from my dad is Jordanian, so a little bit of mix. They met in London. So
hence the Ali Flores. Okay, yeah. I got you.
Exactly. That's where you get that interesting mix. And so Ali Flores, they met in London. My dad and they separated when I was 3 years old. We came here to open a travel agency. I fell in love with the United States, fell in love with Orlando. And UCF graduate, worked at Lockheed Martin.
Me too. I did both, actually.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Long before you were thought of or born, probably long before your parents were born too.
Well, you know, when I turned 30 a few years ago, I said, well, I'm getting, you know, life starts changing. You start feeling older, but you realize I still have a long time left, God willing. But you just got to appreciate age. I got a few gray hairs there, as you can see.
Yeah, those started coming in when I had kids. That was the end of that. And now that you can't get a haircut, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be
I did my best.
Completely gray. Well, how did you get, so you came here to do travel agency. What did you graduate with? An engineering degree from UCF?
I started off engineering, switched to business, and just decided, hey, I love the business world. I worked at Lockheed Martin for about 4 years. Wonderful company, great experience. But there was something missing. The people aspect, right? Just being behind a cubicle in the top secret program, it just wasn't for me. And I always loved real estate. I mean, I love real estate. And
where did the love for real estate come from?
I will say this is kind of a unique story. When I was younger, we used to travel to Vegas a lot as a travel agency, and a little young person in Vegas, you don't gamble. But I got the opportunity to go to different hotels and meet the different hotels owners, Steve Wynn or Kirk Kerkorian. And these people were very involved in the casino business, but they always said everything is about real estate. And so I was like, real estate, you know, you keep hearing about real estate. And my mom used to love going to open houses. She was like the realtor's worst nightmare. She wasn't approved. She couldn't afford it. But like, let's just go to open house. So I grew up that way, just looking at real estate, different experiences, and decided, hey, I'm going to get my license and go into real estate, and haven't looked back since.
And so you got in, and like everybody else, you started making $1 million a month.
A little bit over that, but
I think people think it's overly glamorous, and I'm talking pre-quarantine days. True, too. People think, all right, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to get in. This is it. I can't wait. I don't have to answer to anybody. And then you realize everything's 100% dependent on you.
Yeah. Oh, it's a whole different ballgame. It's tougher than what anyone will tell you. You have to have thick skin. You have to be resilient.
How'd you find your database? Did you obviously do what everybody does in the beginning, mostly is hit your friends and family first? How did you build up? I think that's a question that a lot of newer real estate agents, but newer business people too. Yeah. How did you build up your sphere?
First, I mean, it was my neighbors actually got a home. My neighbors in my old community live here. So neighbors, friends, family, co-workers, and just following up, writing letters, asking for the business. I think it's a little bit tough, saying, hey, I need a referral. If I don't get a referral, I don't get paid. So at the beginning, you just gotta, and there's not a lot of realtors out there, so there's not a lot of competition. uh, so you just have to stand out. I made it about connecting with the people. I had to connect with them, and a lot of them had agents that they worked with, and I understood that. So I had to earn their trust, or maybe with their son was buying their first home, their first condo. That's how I kind of started in the game, and then ventured into the lead buying business as well. So it's a little bit of both. I leverage both.
What do you think you mentioned it? How do you think you set yourself apart? Because you're right. Everybody it gets like I always joke. I can tell what day of the month it is when I get all of the realtor newsletters. You can tell when it's getting closer to closing time because everybody's got the picture of themselves with the key. And so, what do you do different? What do you do in your marketing pre-quarantine? Because I'm going to get to the current
Yeah.
situation a little bit quarantine, what did you do to separate it?
Again, connecting before converting. We like to say it's a relation, not a transaction business, but it's both. So I really get to know their story. I'm like, what is your story? Like, why are you buying a home? We usually have lunch. So it's very personal. It's very one-on-one. I have a lot of emails I get sent out. I have my database that I follow up, Facebook posts, all that, online leads, but there's nothing like the human touch, especially right now. We feel it, right? We're in quarantine.
Yeah.
So it's really that personal, like what's their big why? I have my why, what's their why? And that's usually, I would say most of the time is what connects me with them and allows me to be the realtor of choice. Um, and it sounds like a pitch, but that's how I made it work.
No,
It took me
I
a while.
think a lot of people speak that they talk the talk, but they don't know how to walk that walk.
Yeah.
They want to have those relationships, but for a lot of people, as you said, it can be very transactional if you allow it rather than relationship.
Oh yeah.
And I think people focus on the transaction, don't know how to make that transition to
Yeah.
being more relationship driven.
Exactly.
You're always worrying about where your next deal is and not the people that you're currently working with or your current database. Then I think you miss out on it. So what is your why? You mentioned that as well. What's your why?
It's my family, honestly. I'm married. I take care of my mom, my grandma, my sister. Only guy in the family that takes care of her. So they're my big why. I mean, if I do well, they do well, and it's really what gets me through those tough times, those closings that don't close, those clients that maybe they're a little bit difficult, those deals that fall through, those days that you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing real estate. I'm just gonna get a 9 to 5 again. It keeps me going because real estate also gives you flexibility to be there in the morning for them. Spend those times with them that if I was in a 9 to 5, I couldn't. But also, I can miss out on things. So it's that balance. My big why is my family overall.
Love that. All right, so we have to jump forward to present day.
Oh yeah,
We're all in the middle of this quarantine, COVID, just new normal, I guess is the best way to describe it.
yeah.
What are you doing differently from a business perspective? How are you maintaining those relationships and still continuing business? Because real estate is one of the essential businesses that's allowed to continue. How are you doing that, making sure you're taking precautions, but still continuing on with your relationship part of your plan?
Yeah, I'm very big on foundation. So I make sure every day it's like a normal day. I get up, I do my work. I can't go to the gym, so I started buying like TV workouts, and they're actually working pretty well. So I make sure I have a routine, do my meditation, that so I don't get complacent, and then get to the office. Right, it's sit down and do work. Luckily, my leadership team has been amazing in providing me the tools to send out emails, to digital digital stuff for them to comfort them, and just calling people. I've been calling clients. I have 2 listings this week because these people lost their jobs. So just by connecting with them, they're like, Ali, how do I apply for unemployment? How long is it? And that conversation led to, hey, I might need to list my house. Are people buying? Well, people are always buying, right? It's just you have to price it appropriately. So it's business as usual, but it's a different approach. You really have to focus and be sensitive to what they're going through, because this
I
person just
think
bought a house last August.
I think that this is where the people who have been solely transactional in their approach are really suffering,
Yeah.
because you already have the rapport, you already know how to build the relationships and the rapport with new clients. And so reaching out, it's just something that you are doing in addition to what you were already doing, and you know how to do it. Transactional people, I feel like, are the ones, and I know a lot of them in not
Yeah.
just real estate but all industries, and they don't know how to make that human connection.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that that hasn't been part of their approach. That hasn't been part of the way they do business. So, checking in with people, I love that. The phone calls, I probably, on an average, I'm not really a phone person,
Yeah.
but I love to get the phone call. I love to get the message that says, "Hey Ted, I'm just checking on you," because I
Yeah.
do the same thing for people.
Yeah.
And I think that really has become a really cool way that we're communicating, that maybe we didn't. Everything was over messenger and text and email, and now
Yeah.
people really are so hungry to hear voices, or like this, they
Yeah.
are just jumping on any chance to watch anything that isn't a Netflix series, where they have real interaction with human beings, or can see human beings interacting. And so I think that is just critical to what you're doing. I absolutely love that. I think the routine too is super important. What are you doing? So you have your routine, but most of it sounded like it was business. So you've got your workout videos. What are you doing, like, mentally to prepare? Are you prayer, meditation, reading, listening to Gary Vee, like different kinds of
Yeah.
things like that? What are you doing?
Meditation and prayer are big to me. I carry my faith on my sleeve, so that's foundational. I like to read books. I'm a reader. I'm a huge reader. So a little bit of self-improvement books and a little biographies. I find it interesting that I believe it was Isaac Newton, if I'm not mistaken, discovered something during the pandemic. Someone sent me a post, and I'm like, wait, okay, so I can be productive during this time. There's things that I can do. So trying to keep my mind busy, but at the same time, the first thing I'm going to do once this is all over is cancel Netflix, because I've watched so much Netflix. So you need your time away, but it's like I miss human contact,
Yeah.
and really spending the time with my wife. Right, she got furloughed last week, so like great. We always want to spend time together. Now that we have this time, is what do we do with the time we have?
I love
So it's balancing a little bit of both, keeping my mind going, keeping my body active, but keeping the relationships at bay too. And Zoom has been great because this is
It's
what I'm going.
really like a lifesaver. I think I've told this before on the Zoom shows.
Yeah.
I fought it. I didn't want to get, I, I thought there's no way that you can have a true human connection conversation
Yeah.
on video. And so I fought it. And I have to give shout outs every chance I get to Renee Funk for pushing my buttons and saying, Ted, I don't understand why you're not jumping on this. I just really felt like I'm such an in-person kind of
Yeah.
contact. That's what I like. And so to get on a Zoom call, I just thought, I'm not going to be able to read them. I'm not going to see their body language. The complete opposite. Your spirit comes through, what you're feeling and saying and what you're thinking comes through just as clear as if you were sitting in front of me, and the audience loves it,
That's great.
because they are tired of watching the same old series over and over
Yeah,
again.
I
What do you
agree.
think the future? What do you think the future holds? What do you, whenever we get out of this quarantine, how will you be doing business differently?
Yeah. I don't see the glass half empty or half full. I always see it full. I'm really overly optimist. I'm like, this is going to be great. I think it's going to take the biggest thing is getting back into the routine of things for people. I think a lot of realtors, I have my team and I motivate them, but a lot of people are going to leave real estate. They're afraid. Just kind of have in 2008. So it's going to be an opportunity more than anything. This challenge is going to create a huge opportunity. And I think online showings, videos are going to be the standard. I mean, right now, this is kind of, we're preparing for this, for what's to come. Because I just went to Publix this morning and I'm like, I don't want to be here. There's a person coughing or whatever. So there's going to be a little bit of time of uncertainty, and that's understandable. But the people that adapt, and it's hard, videos. I did a walkthrough FaceTime and I'm showing the home, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
First time is awkward. About the second, third time, you're like, this is normal. So the people that are able to pivot and adapt to the way of doing business in the next 6 months are going to be successful, and we're going to get back to normal. I mean, everyone needs a roof over the head. Real estate is it's there. It's king.
I agree. I think that this is done, in my opinion, it's done a lot for opening new doors and new ways of reaching your clients, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah.
It's opened doors for people that are, especially on the entrepreneurial side, that have either their own businesses or they're independent contractors. There are just so many more options now, and people are being forced to be creative, which is actually a good thing. They're being forced to look at things differently and do things differently. And I think what everybody that I've spoken with, what resonates is that people are excited about being able to do things differently, because when it comes back, they'll have yet another way to do business and to interact with the people around them. And so I think I hate hearing about layoffs and furloughs. I have a lot of friends I know that have are going through that, and it's not to take away the pain from it. And I know that's a different kind of job.
Yeah.
They're also looking at ways, which I like, of, okay, well, I can't do that right now. What can I do? What can I do creatively in this world? I can now spend time on focusing on maybe what I always wanted to do, or a side business, side hustle that I wanted to do. And so I feel like people are very resilient.
Oh yeah, this is going to create that. And I love even going outside for a walk in the afternoons and you see people walking. And I'm like, wow, this reminds me of when I was growing up, everybody's outside, you know, there's fellowship, there's talking at a distance. So I'm hoping this also creates more like, hey, the relationships are very, very important. I met some neighbors that I never met before.
Right. I know. You know, I had another thing that's created for me, which I think will help any business that isn't limited geographically, is I have people reaching out to me from all over the world to do shows. So if they can reach out to do shows, they can reach out to become a client of yours. I have a lady coming on, a filmmaker from England, tomorrow, just that reached out to me on Twitter. So I think there's so much opportunity there, and it's really broadening our opportunity. All right, you've been a joy. Thank you so much for being on the show. You've got such a great, calm approach to things. So
I literally live every day like it's my last. So just make the best.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for getting on. So guys, reach out to Ali Flores if you need anything, want anything. I tagged him in this. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the show, buddy, and hope we will get together finally when this is all over.
Stay safe. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon.